Hello, this is JB. I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Today I'm going to talk about the inspiration for my more than 17 years of work as a non-attorney workers' rights advocate. So when I was growing up in North Carolina, I was often at work with my dad, who worked for his brother, and his brother had taken over the family tile company, and my dad wasn't treated fairly. He wasn't paid fairly. He didn't have good benefits, didn't have good working conditions, and he wasn't treated well. He wasn't treated with all the um, dignity and respect that every person deserves, and especially him, considering what he did for his brother and for the company. And I would see my dad get talked down to because he was younger and because he didn't have as much money, and my uncle had more power. And I would see men who had started out working for my grandfather in the 1950s not have or not receive uh, everything that they had earned in terms of money and benefits and um, respect. Uh, and it bothered me because those people worked hard. My dad and everyone else, they worked hard. Their work created um, product, which was tile and marble installations for the customers, and it created money because the customers would pay my uncle. And my uncle did very well. He had a huge house. He had um, nice cars. He had everything that he needed material wise. His kids went to very expensive private schools, and his financial success gave him respect from everyone else who looked at what he had and what he had accomplished, or what the workers that worked for him had accomplished for him, and he got a certain level of respect from that. And I always thought it was fair because my dad put in just as much, if not more, effort than my uncle. Um, they built the company together, and it just didn't work out for my dad financially. But my dad, to his credit, um, continued doing his job for many years. He did very well. He didn't fight and argue um, about the money. Um, he didn't uh, hate the company or hate the people involved in the company. My uncle and his wife, my aunt, uh, and he just did his thing. And I don't think he liked it, but he handled himself as well or better than any other person would have in that particular situation. So that inspired me because I always had a chip on my shoulder because I felt like I wasn't, um, I didn't have the opportunities that I should have had in life because of the situation that my dad was in. And so after I graduated high school early. I worked for a couple of years for the company. I was treated not as well as I should have been. I didn't make the money that I should have. I didn't have health care. I didn't have other benefits that I deserved. And I was looked down upon just because I didn't come from the side of the family with money. And I was called names and picked on by my uncle, who loved me, but he was just sometimes he had a hard time showing it, and just generally not giving the respect that I deserved, especially considering how well I did at work and um, what I produced for the company and for my uncle and everyone else. But so that was part of my inspiration. But after I graduated high school and I worked for a couple of years for the family company, I went out west and I ended up in Tucson, Arizona. And I started going to school there, community college. During the school year and in the summers, I was working in Alaska. and that was very hard work, and was making very little money. It was terrible conditions, wasn't getting respect, and so I became very concerned about issues affecting workers because I saw people not being treated fairly, not being paid for all the hours that they were working, um, put in situations where they were in danger and they got hurt. I got hurt, not terribly, but I got injured in different ways, or almost injured. One time I almost got ran over by a forklift, and then the supervisor blamed me, even though it was not my fault. Um, but those sorts of things. So I got very concerned about that. I started learning about the issues and teaching my fellow employees about what was going on and what we could do about it, because a lot of these people were from different countries and they didn't speak English as a first language. They didn't know the laws of the United States, or um, what rights they had, or how to fix problems. And so I did my best to inform them and help them, even though I was at that time learning as well, and I'm still learning. No matter how old you are or how much you know, you're always learning, especially in the law, because the law changes and the way things work changes. So you always have to adapt, and there's always new situations that you've never been in, you couldn't possibly know about until you've been in it. So you're always learning. But so that was an inspiration. And then in 2007, so I guess my first year working in Alaska, I started to pay very close attention to the Democratic presidential primary and all the different candidates, but one of them that I was familiar with already was United States Senator John Edwards. And since I was from North Carolina, I knew who he was because he was my senator from 1998 until 2004, when he ran for president, and then was selected to be the vice presidential running mate of United States Senator John Kerry. So I knew who he was when I was in high school. I know I read newspaper articles about him, but I wasn't like reading every word. I wasn't super interested in everything that he did or had to say, even though I still remember some things. But he was just like a political figure, and that was very separate from my life because I was just a regular person going to high school, so I didn't have a lot of connection to a political person, especially one who was a United States Senator in Washington, who I'd never met. My parents weren't political, so the only thing I knew about him was what I saw on TV or read in the newspaper or in a magazine or something. But in 2007, I heard and saw, because it was on YouTube, YouTube was very new at that point, speeches that Senator Edwards gave, and he talked about how workers were being affected by decisions made by the government, and also by the power that companies had over workers. And so since these companies had so much money and so much power, they could influence government officials, but they also were very tough to stop and to change, because they did whatever they wanted, because whatever they wanted helped them make more money. And so it was tough, but he took a hard stand, and he stood up for the working people, what some people say, the little guy, and I identified with that because I felt that way because of my background and the position I was in currently. So I really supported him a lot. Um, I looked at all the candidates and what they all had to say, and they were all fine, but I was particularly interested in him because I identified with him. He talked like I talk, from the same state I was from, had a slightly similar background. He was the son of a mill worker. I had mill workers in my family a little farther back. My dad was a tile setter, so I was the son of a tile setter. And very blue-collar background, but I had big goals, not only for myself, but for everyone that I wanted to help. And I wanted to help a lot of people, and still do. So I followed his campaign very closely, watched a lot of videos, read everything I could read about it, contacted the campaign to try to see if there were ways I could get involved. And then January of 2008, there was the Nevada, you said Nevada, I said Nevada, caucuses. And the caucuses were basically primary elections. And so I went there and I spent, I don't know how long it was, I think 4 days, knocking on doors in the city of Las Vegas and its suburbs with different people. And they would give me a ride out, and then we would go knock on doors and then jump back in the car and go somewhere else. And I enjoyed talking to different people because I'd never spent time in Nevada, but just talking to them, learning about what they're concerned about, hearing about that, and then taking the ideas of Senator Edwards and sharing those with them and seeing how that played. I enjoyed that, and I liked the idea of connecting with people and giving them a reason to believe that there was hope for the future for them, their families, for their communities, their state, and our country, and the world. And I really liked that. And so as he was not successful in that. Senator Obama was first, Senator Clinton was second, I think that's right, and Senator Edwards was third. And he had didn't have as much support from the media because the media was very excited about Senator Obama because there was reasons to be excited. Senator Obama was very talented. He was a great speaker, as we all know. He spoke at 2004 convention. He a great writer. He explained his ideas very clearly in his books. He was the first very serious contender who was African American for the presidency, and I think people were looking for someone like that who represented change, and he represented it, but also spoke about hope and change. So that was exciting, but the media kind of shied away from Edwards, and I thought that was partly due to the fact that he had lost before in 2004 when he was on the ticket as vice president, but also I thought it was kind of because he was from like North Carolina. He was from the South, right? He had a rural background. He was talking about issues that the people in the big cities might not be as concerned about, and he was kind of viewed as anti-corporate. And I don't think he was anti-corporate, but he was against some of the things that corporations do that hurt people. And so he didn't get a whole lot of help, and he didn't get as much of a fair shake as he deserved from the media. But he went through the first couple of states. He did respectably, and that was it. Later on, there were some controversies, very serious ones, and I'm not going to talk about that in these videos. I was not inspired by those. I didn't take inspiration, but I was inspired by the work that he did during those years from, let's say, 1996, 7 until 2008, speaking about issues that affected working people and going up and being personable and talking to them and caring about them and wanting to hear what they cared about. And even though he was very wealthy, he had been successful as an attorney, and he has been again, but he had been successful as an attorney, and so he had money, he had a house, he had I suppose nice cars and different things that people buy when they have money. And so he was well connected because he was in the United States Senate, and when you're in the United States Senate, you meet people. And so he had status, but he still went to all 99 counties of Iowa, and he went a lot of other places that people just don't go. And he made poverty and hope and opportunity big parts of his life by creating opportunities for others, coming up with ideas about how to do that, serving as the chair of the Center for Poverty, Hope, and Opportunity at the University of North Carolina. So he put a lot of his time and effort and I believe maybe some money into that, and he tried to draw other people into that to help with that cause. So I appreciate that because although I didn't ever benefit directly from it, I knew that people were benefiting from it, and I saw how those ideas could help people. And so as I uh, spent time in the workers' rights movement, um, I drew on that and drew on the ideas of how to connect people to issues that were uh, transformative and that overcame boundaries like um, political party, race, sex, gender, membership in different communities like the LGBTQ community. So it doesn't matter what your membership was in any of those communities. At the end of the day, you're a worker, and so what happens to workers matters to you. Like, for example, a African American person who lives in Los Angeles has a stake in what happens to workers because he's a worker or she, and a Caucasian person, white person who lives in Dubuque, Iowa, or some town between Dubuque and Des Moines or whatever, they have a stake too because they're workers. And so the idea is to help connect people through bigger ideas and to help them understand how the decisions that are made in Washington, D.C. or in their state capitals affect them at the local level. And I've always tried to do that as an advocate myself, help people understand that, like, even though that they might not feel connected to the people in Washington, D.C. or at their state level or even at City Hall, because they're not in politics, what happens there matters to them. It affects them. And so that they should be interested in that and they should be active citizens by doing any of a number of things, from writing a letter, making a call, showing up and sitting down at a hearing or at a government meeting, going to a rally or a protest or some other sort of event that helps show that people are concerned about the issues. And I've done it in so many different ways. It would take maybe an hour just to explain all the different ways that I've done it, but I've been involved in all the ways I've just explained. I have been very politically involved by participating in campaigns, by working with different groups that weren't campaigns, but political action committees and different groups that were concerned about issues. And I've appeared in ads, in print, TV, and internet. I have done radio interviews, worked with the press, given interviews to the press, and also been quoted by the press. I have contacted legislators. I have endorsed legislators. I have wrote many op-eds about individual candidates, but also about larger issues to help inform the public and to help the movement grow. And I'm very proud of the work that I've done. I have had many successes, and I'm not going to go bragging about everything that I've done, but I've had successes, and I know that I've helped individuals, I've helped small groups, and I've helped large groups through my efforts and through the efforts of the people that I was working with. And so I'm proud of it, and I call myself a workers' rights advocate because that's who I am. Like, in my heart and in my soul, I'm a workers' rights advocate because I advocate for workers. and I want to help them improve their lives in whatever way I can. And so even though I'm not an attorney, I'm still an advocate because I advocate. And so what I drew from Senator Edwards is that no matter who you are, there's a way to get involved. Because he was wealthy, like what happens to workers doesn't really change his bank account. But he still got involved because he saw problems and he tried to fix them. He proposed ideas. And I've tried to do that my whole career. And also at the same time, even though I was working in plants, I was taking all sorts of college courses. I was working different jobs to get skills that would help me in my future career, but also in what I was doing right then, which was advocating for workers. I've always just tried to build on everything else that I've done to make myself very well-rounded as a thinker, as a writer, as a speaker, and just as a person who's capable of helping other people. And I, like I said, have accomplished a lot, but I have a lot left to do. And the way that I'm going to do that, I hope, is go to law school. I've already been accepted. I'm going to enter law school in August, and I'm going to go from there and hopefully, be very successful in law school, do as well as I think I can do. I have a master's degree in legal studies already, so and many years of experience, so I'm familiar with the law and how it works and stuff. But there's still a lot to learn and a lot to do. You have to show up and you have to perform, so I'll do that. But yeah, I hope one day that I can go on and I can become a lawyer. I would like to do work that helps workers or just regular people. And I think I can do that because of everything that I've done in the past. And drawing it back to Senator Edwards, some of what I've done was as a result of learning about him, following him. One thing I didn't mention was when I was in Las Vegas way back in 2008 in January, I went to an event that was right before a debate where Senator Obama, and Senator Clinton, Hillary Clinton, were, and he stopped by the event on the way inside, and I was in the front row of a parking lot where he had drove in the main driveway and stopped and got out and shook some hands, and I shook his hand. He has a big hand, but I was there for just a second. He shook my hand, went to the next person, and that was it. So that's my only interaction with him as a person, other than I've sent him an email in the past. But he did help inspire me, even though he's made mistakes in his life like everybody else has, and he's had failures just like everybody else has. I was inspired, and I continue to be inspired by what he did, what he tried to do, and I don't know. I don't have any plans to run for vice president or even United States senator or anything else. Not even local mayor or anything. But at least the idea that one person from a humble background can reach new heights and can do good things for other people, that's inspiring. Because even though my hair is not quite as nice as Senator Edwards' hair is or was, when I look at him and when I think about his life, I kind of think about myself, even though we look different and we don't have a whole lot in common. Now, like this idea that one person can improve their own life and also improve the lives of others, I like this idea, and that's what inspired me and continues to inspire me. So that is where my inspiration for my work as a workers' rights advocate, and hopefully one day as an attorney, comes from. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.